5 mistakes for you to avoid when it comes to growing lavender. We will be getting into pruning, which is a very easy way to kill off your lavender if you don't know what you're doing. We will be talking about the position and sighting of your lavenders. Again, big source of problems when it comes to growing these plants. And lastly, at number 5, I'm going to be discussing the biggest killer of all lavender, whether it be a pot, don't put it in a pot, or have it in the ground. The first mistake is to plant your lavender into a poorly drained or waterlogged soil, and that can include heavy soils such as a clay soils. They do not like to have their roots kept permanently moist. They like plenty of drainage. If you can't provide a well-drained soil, then you're going to have your plants at risk from picking up soil-borne fungal infections. Listen, all of your lavender species are found around the area of the Mediterranean Sea. So that's North Africa, it's a little bit of Western Asia, and it's all part of Southern Europe. All these areas are hot and dry, low rainfall, and you want to try and mimic that in your garden. So make sure that when you are planting it in your garden, if you do not have an area that is well drained, you will need to improve the drainage by either digging in plenty of organic matter or grit, or consider putting it in a raised bed so you know you have excellent drainage. And if you're putting it in a pot, it's not going to do well in the pot. Then at least you can raise the pot, not water it so much. This pot thing is going to be a bit of an issue. When was the last time you saw lavender thriving in a pot? Doesn't really happen. I know they're sold in a pot, but they're in a massive nursery and everybody knows what they're doing. You, on the other hand, you're fine. I know you're all right, but you, just be careful. Pots, especially those that are glazed, because they'll hold the water worse. Oh. Now, mistake number 2, and this is a big problem, is to not do your research beforehand and buy yourself the wrong lavender. Here in the UK, there really is only one lavender that will survive our winters, and that is Lavender angustifolia. When I say one, there's also a hybrid of angustifolia, which is known as cross intermedia. All of these hybrids that are easily found, these are all very good for the UK. And again, any of the cultivars of angustifolia are absolutely superb. You start growing any of the others such as dentata, stoechas, then you're going to find yourself on a sticky wicket, because they aren't going to like the damp, they're not going to like the cold. The chances of these surviving the winter are pretty much zero, unless you live somewhere like in London, or on the mildest regions of the UK and the Isles of Scilly. Furthermore, if you live somewhere particularly hot, then the Lavender angustifolia is not going to be very good for you. It does not tolerate intense heat. There, you'll be looking at, I would say, the 2 best ones are going to be your French lavender, which is your stoechas with those lovely big fat buds and those lovely upright petals on the top. And the other one's going to be your Italian lavender dentata. Now, I do know that depending in which country you are in, these plants will have different common names, but this is what we're calling them here, and which is also why we're sticking to the botanical names. So, Lavandula stoechas is going to be good for you. Lavandula dentata, they like it hot, they like it dry, they do not like it humid. Do your research first, buy the right plant, and that way you should get it to survive at least the next few years. Otherwise, once again, your plant will be dead. Mistake number 3 is this. You'll go to the garden centre, you'll see some fresh lavender straight out the nursery. You've got silvery grey foliage, gorgeous blooms on it, and you think, that looks absolutely wonderful. I've got a really dark place. These plants will absolutely shine there, look amazing, and everyone will be happy. Well, no, your plant won't be happy and you won't be happy. And that is because these plants do not like to be kept in shade. If they get kept in shade, they'll lose color, it will have poor flowering, it will be weak, it will become stunted. It will then become more at risk from picking up fungal infections, in particular because shady areas tend to be damper anyway. Now, we mentioned about roots becoming damaged. Well, it's the same situation. If it's too shady, it becomes weak. If it's too damp in the soil, it can pick up root infections because the roots can die because they like the soil to be free draining. And if you get dead roots, these become infection points for these soil-borne fungal infections, and lavender just don't really have any resistance against that, which is why you see so many of these die. When it comes to growing lavender, you need to make sure that your plants get at least
6 hours of direct sunshine, our kid.
every single day. Now, mistake number 4 is to do with pruning, and I'm going to break it down into 2 parts. First part is going to be the timing of your pruning. The second part is going to be where and how you prune. The best time of year to prune your lavender will be somewhere between August and September. This should kind of hit roughly the end of flowering for your plant. So depending on what species or cultivar or hybrid it is, and also whereabouts in the world you are, it's going to fall somewhere in that time frame. So you just have to measure it as to when your plants are about to finish flowering. That is when you cut it. However, there does seem to be a new breed of gardeners out there, and they say this: yeah, the best time to prune back your lavender is going to be in April. No one really speaks like that, but no, April is not the best time of year. I'll explain. If you prune in August and September, you'll get multiple stems coming up from those cuts you've made, and there's plenty of time for this foliage to harden off before the winter comes. Then, come the spring, you'll get all of your flower buds being formed on this new growth. So you'll get a big flowering display come the summer. Now, if you didn't cut it then and you're going to cut it in April, you can only really give it a light trim. And by doing that in April, you're already cutting off all those new buds that have formed from the previous season. So you've cut off all the buds, and now it's going to flower even later on in the year. And what is the point of that? It's such a good display, you really want to see it as soon as you possibly can. So I would say this though, you've got one caveat. If you were on one of your fancy holidays over the August-September period, or you've purchased a property with lavender in the garden and the previous owners didn't cut these lavenders last year, and you're looking at them and you're going, yeah, that is an absolute awful mess, then yes, I will give you permission to give a light trim in April. Other than that, no. And also, if you did miss your August, September, and you're moving into the end of October and you think, I better get those cut now, the answer is no, you're too late. If you cut these back too late on in the year, you have all this fresh, lush growth coming through. And as soon as winter hits, all that growth is going to be frosted and killed off. You'll get dieback into the plant, which is never going to be any good. And also, it creates multiple infection points for fungal infections. So get the timing right. And now on to part 2, how and where to cut. Now, it's actually April now, and you can look at this. This is a lavender angustifolia, and it's already got at the apical tips all its flower buds that are going to produce its blooms in the summer. So if you take advice from these guys that say cut in April, all you're doing is cutting off all these flower buds. The plant has to regrow it all, reproduce it, and you'll end up with quite a late flowering display. I mean, these are summer flowering anyway. I mean, it's long enough to wait. You don't want it really flowering any later. Now, let me show you something. So yes, you can cut into this sort of like green, lush growth, and even this sort of like silvery growth from last year. But what you don't cut into is that woody growth inside. Can you see that? Anything down there you don't cut. It does not like growing back from this old woody growth. The problem occurs when you've got old, established, untidy lavender, where most of the plant is actually old brown wood. You probably only got like an inch or so of fresh growth on the top. So it's very hard to resist the temptation just to go in there, all guns blazing, cut it back by half and expect it to grow back. Be honest with you, you probably just killed your plant. It goes into shock. They really don't like producing new growth from that old wood, and really your plant is probably dead. You would have been better just digging it up, throwing it in the bin and planting out a new one. But be honest with you, I can be a bit soul destroying. Killing off plants, replacing them, doesn't sound right, does it? There's definitely a moral issue here. And here we are at mistake number 5, the reason and the biggest cause of death in lavender plants, and that is over watering your lavenders. And we do see this quite a lot, and we are touching really again what we mentioned about in mistake number 1. You have to resist watering these plants as you would do your other plants. You may be in a habit of going out every couple of days, putting a litre or so on all your lovely fancy plants. You're going to have to not do that to your lavenders. They won't thank you for it. Really, when you dig it in the ground and plant it, you could water it in. Then that helps the root ball to establish into the surrounding soil. And really, unless you have a summer drought, you really wouldn't water it much or two thereafter. So this is where it goes wrong, and it's usually with pot grown lavenders. You're watering your lavender over a period of time, and you come out one day and you think, oh dear, it's starting to wilt. It's probably not got enough water. So you put some more water on it, and the next day looks the same. You put even more water on it because it's wilting, hasn't got enough water. You keep on doing that, and then within a few weeks, the whole thing's dead. What on earth has gone wrong? Well, I will explain it to you on my comfy chair just there. Very lovely. If you went to the garden centre, bought yourself a pot, bought yourself a bag of compost, bought yourself a lavender, and put them all together and made a pot grown lavender, you'll probably find that you're watering it way too much. It's a particular problem with plastic pots, it's a particular problem with terracotta pots, because water can't escape through the sides, which would improve drainage if you'd potted it on in a regular terracotta, concrete or reconstituted stone pot. So you're watering it, you use a standard compost, it's all right for drainage, but it's not going to be well drained enough for a lavender. You probably would have been better off adding a load of horticultural grit into it to improve drainage. You can use perlite, you can use vermiculite. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. What's happened is the compost has got too wet. The roots don't like it. That is not the kind of soil type they have evolved to survive in. They like it dry, free draining. Gets too wet, the root hairs suffocate, and these are the parts of the plant that take in the water and the nutrition. So if it can't take in the water, the plant dries out, starts to wilt. Now, it could just be that you've overwatered it. If you've got the same problem in the ground and it's too wet, again we're back to soil-borne fungal pathogens that block the waterways within the plant. So again, plant dries out because it can't take up the water. A plant that is overwatered looks the same as a plant that looks underwatered. How can you tell? Well, you just have to put your finger in the pot and see whether it's too wet or too dry. So this is the problem with overwatering. You tend to think it's dry, you water it more, you exacerbate the problem, and this is why these plants die. I'm not going to go into it any further. Just remember, overwatering bad with lavenders. don't know why that keeps happening. Anyway, there you go. Those are my 5 mistakes you really want to stop making when it comes to lavender because of the risk of plant death. Of course, there are probably any number of other problems you should be aware of, and if you've got a few that I didn't put in because I'm only doing 5, I'm not doing 10, put that in the comments. We would genuinely love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.